Why do alien species that look 100% human even exist? We're talking about aliens in fiction that are literally portrayed by humans, whether they have powers or not. Think about characters like the Eternals, Inhumans, Viltrumites, Kryptonians, or even background aliens and humanoid species in franchises like Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Wars, and Star Trek. Not only do they look like humans, but internally they're almost identical, and in many cases, they can even reproduce with humans from Earth. So how is that possible? Humans evolved on Earth due to very specific environmental pressures over millions of years. We're highly evolved primates, apes, uniquely adapted to this planet. So how can human-like beings with nearly identical DNA exist across completely different planets and galaxies? In many fictional universes, especially in Marvel Comics, this isn't just a theory, it's explained as fact. The reason these species look like us and can reproduce with us is because they share a common origin. An ancient, highly advanced, almost godlike civilization, often beings like the Celestials, took early humans, or even pre-human ancestors like archaic Homo species or primates, from Earth. These beings experimented on them, studied them, and in many cases relocated them to other planets. Sometimes these planets were their own worlds, and sometimes they were experimental environments designed to test how life would adapt and evolve under different conditions. Through these experiments, new species were created, some with enhanced strength, durability, healing, flight, or other abilities depending on the universe, or they inherited genetic material that would eventually allow them to develop powers later on. Life forms with those levels of strength, durability, flight, and general insane abilities can realistically only be created or engineered by a higher life form, like the Celestials or similar godlike beings. This is because almost no natural environment could produce selective pressures precise enough for a species to independently evolve those kinds of abilities. Instead, those traits would have to be introduced into their genome from an outside source through experimentation or engineering. That means these abilities were not naturally developed over time, but deliberately built into their biology during their modification by those unknown advanced deities. That explains why humans in fiction are sometimes able to develop powers in the first place, because they were experimented on. If someone carries these altered genes, they are less likely to simply die from extreme conditions or freak accidents, and more likely to develop abilities instead. It is essentially a prerequisite built into their DNA to unlock powers. And if some of these experiments were also conducted on Earth, that explains why powers are something that could eventually develop in humans here as well. Over time, thousands or even millions of years, these altered human descendants evolved into entirely new civilizations. In many cases, they were abandoned by their creators, left to survive and develop on their own. Because so much time has passed, most of these species don't even know their true origins trace back to Earth. This idea explains why Kryptonians, Viltrumites, and similar species look human and can reproduce with humans. Even if some stories leave it ambiguous, the biological compatibility strongly suggests a shared origin. And if they can reproduce with non-human-looking species as well, that can be explained as a result of further genetic modification or experimentation. So when you see a human-looking alien in fiction, it is not just a coincidence. In many cases, it points back to ancient intervention, beings who took early life from Earth, altered it, and spread it across the universe. These spacefaring humans are not separate from us. They are distant relatives shaped by time, environment, and experimentation.